Greetings. Wow, this Monday has come so soon, but here we are again. Thank you for pressing play. Thank you for coming on to the broadcast. And again, let me encourage you to put some comments in the chat or give me an email, nationmind2021@gmail.com. I'm longing to hear from you. Let's make the conversation real. Let's see what you are saying. Is it working? Is it helping you? And what ideas you have that I can help you with? What situations? What topics do you want? So I look forward to the community. Well, we continue on loss and grief. I notice I'm saying loss and grief still, not grief a lot, but for you to have a grief, there must be a loss. And so we want you to really realize that, yes, there has been loss. And I capped off last broadcast talking about change. Notice you have to be different. Things are going to be different. Changing tastes because I've maybe left my house, my mother's house, and gone to be married or gone to live somewhere else. So I've lost that taste. I've lost environment. I've lost connectivity. I've lost a job. Loss. It's not just somebody dying, but it's about loss. So whether it's even like changing from one school to the other, from primary school to secondary, from secondary to tertiary, to a job, from being dismissed to being transferred, there's a lot of loss. We must realize that we are suffering from loss daily. Loss of time, loss of opportunity, loss of friendships. We are really traumatized people. So therefore, this series, I've been trying to cut it, to cut it. But every time I say something, you get into another phase of where you should go and how you should handle it. So I want to talk about change a little bit, which should take us into the issue of how we are controlling our environment and really recognizing the things that happen to us in terms of working out. So that do I have this change and I realize that I am no longer aware, and as we said earlier on, we are really finding opportunities through art, running, painting, music, to find the space where we can use our energy more positively and to emote differently. But yet sometimes during that time, you may have a trigger that brings you back to a particular situation with the loss. And we have what is called catharsis. There's a venting, there's a loudness, a throwing, there's a screaming. And that is important for us to see that, especially in our cultures, we think that it's bad, but I want to see that even though it's unhealthy, it helps to regularize and bring us into some focus. Now, if this catharsis is happening too regularly, therefore we need professional help. You need to find a psychologist. You may even need to find a psychiatrist to get some medication. But if it happens now and you're able to see, I can't say it won't happen. But what I can say is if it does happen, we have to learn how to regulate our behaviors and come into that place where we can manage these emotions. And how we manage that, again, is by thought, how we keep thinking. So we have what we call hypervigilance, so that there's always the wondering of, is this going to happen again? Am I going to crash? How do I drive? How safe is this job? What's happening here? And we have these things that we are always hypersensitive in terms of things happening. Somebody gets ill, I feel like, gosh, I can't have it again. Sickness again. I keep being thrown into situations, and we sometimes don't know how to handle that. But it's important to us to really be working with the positive or the negative, and helping us breathe, finding those opportunities, getting into the art, redirecting the emotions, redirecting help me. I don't think don't think that I am scattered here, but I want us I want to be so open with you here and real in that we asking. So yeah, it's real. This is not just textbook. It's that you find this thing oh, I miss, oh, if this person was here, or if that. But what can I do now? Oh, I can paint. But I am not doing that thing that I may have done last week. No, but the painting may give you the satisfaction of emotion that you may have had. So I have to learn how to transfer and re-regulate these emotions to interpret a more manageable lifestyle. We want to be able to be much more intellectually responsible for ourselves. We can't be always blaming loss for our behavior. We can't continue to blame loss for the rest of our life. No, I don't want you to go down that road. I want you to realize loss has lost. Sorry, loss is loss. And we are here and we are continuing to establish what we need to establish for ourselves. We do have a purpose. We have a life. We have ideas. We have great expectations. Those things can still be lived if I learn how to manage these emotions. And whenever something comes up and I'm sensitive to a noise or smell, and we have to listen to how we are working this out. So there's something that we have to, as I said, if you can't handle it, find some counseling or find a psychiatrist to get, we may need some medication. So that, and then we may want to blame people or that happened, you did this, why did you? No, it's about me. We have to focus on me. Don't go down the blame game. Don't transfer your emotions or your needs on somebody else. Let's deal with it. Let's have that heart-to-heart talk with ourselves and see what is happening with me. We need to come to that place, excuse me, where we begin to accommodate the realities of where I have been and where I am now. So it's about us realizing that I have had basic needs. That has been disrupted, but I have to reestablish those basic needs. And I have to learn how to listen to myself as if somebody is listening to me. I have to understand and validate. I have to not just be validated, but I have to work it out. I have to acknowledge that I do have stressful times. And I do need to find a way to talk or to be spoken to. And so I agree with that I can find a soothing position. Some of us don't think we could ever feel comfortable again. Some of us don't even think we can look at another person or come into contact where we can have a meaningful relationship. You see me, I don't know who to trust. Yeah, but don't exacerbate the I. Realize the I has a problem. The I is working it out, and the I is willing to change to we and to us. We have to define that very comfortably. It's important. So that how do I manage that as we go along? We have to see that all the experiences we have had an emotion. And all the people around us has given us emotions. We have to realize that all these emotions can overpower us. But how do we work them all out? Should I repeat? The loss gives us emotions. I have my emotions. You come with your emotions to me and to support people. Everything around me is giving me different concepts and identifying different realms of emotions. But I have to live. I have to find a way to find a power over that emotion. I have to find a place where I can really understand how do I get it together, keep it together. Yes? How do I come to that place where I find some stability in my own self? So, do I understand my emotions? Do I want to understand? All I've said so far from the last podcast now is about us identifying that yes, they are real. And do remember there's also the cognition. I am thinking. So when I think, I emote. And sometimes when I emote, it causes me to think also differently. So we have to find a means of how do we put this thing together. Yes? How do we interpret our own emotions? How do we interpret, firstly, for me, personally, how do I really establish the loss? For me, I've had loss. Amen. Next. Because I don't want to attach myself to loss. I don't want to attach myself to what is not there. And I have mentally appropriated that in terms of how I live. So, even if I lose a shoe, people will wonder, but that was a good shoe. That was the best shoe. No, I don't have best shoes. I have shoes that I wear appropriately, whether it's a color scheme or environment, whether I need a boot, sneakers, or whatever. So if I just get another one, or I appropriate a change and I find something else. If I come home and I can't find food, I appropriate what is there and make it work for food. But I don't want to batter myself. Oh gosh, this thing gone. Oh, I come home to eat the rice and peas, but somebody take it and where it gone. You always find yourself being, there's a big word, where you keep beating yourself. I can't remember the big word. Where you keep beating yourself and where you know that you have to learn how to overcome. So I have had I've worked that over the years. So even though I've had physical deaths, people have died in my close people, I have not had that kind of effect because they're dead. Oh, you might find that blunt, or you might find that heartless, but I have to go on. And I have had to use some of these methodologies in terms of taking me forward. One of the things that is important, how do I learn to interpret these emotions for my benefit? Now, some people even feel that's bad, because there is a culture out there that tells you if you look too good or behave too calm, too quickly, something is wrong. That you didn't really love the person, or you didn't really miss them. And people belabor you with these kinds of conversations because everybody expects you to look drab and sad, and they want to come and express their own emotions and say, I know how you're feeling. Some of them don't know a thing how you're feeling. Even though they might have had loss in their life, you don't know the person's emotional state. But they want to trot you. And if after a month, but it's only a month, and if they see you laughing, what? You sure you overcome that? Are you processing properly? Oh, please. You could overcome in a week, in a day. You could overcome. Because why? You have had enough in knowledge, and your brain is thinking a particular way in terms of your processing and how you have established the overcoming of hyperarousal, or the overcoming of the shock and the intensity of the loss, that you're able now to manage those emotions and to say, it is well. It is very well. Some people think that that's not real. So that it's important for me to even recreate my environment so that after a death in the house, this chair was not mine. I don't need this chair. Or if I leave this chair here, that's where maybe Granny used to sit, so I could change it. She's not here. Oh, you have voice? No. So you want to come in every day and react to the whole scene of if Granny wasn't there. That is going to keep you into a place of negativity and sadness and bemoaning, and there's also going to be hypervigilance and hyperarousal, and there's going to be depression. So we have to remember it's our time to reestablish our environment and make it manageable for us. Some people put strides in their house, the portieres, artifacts, clothes. They don't want to throw this away. Not realizing keeping it is one thing. But what it does for me is essential, because how am I facing my future? I still have to learn. School, I still have to go to work. Money, I still have to have friends. I still have responsibilities. It's called social interaction. There are still things that I want to achieve. Am I going to stop achieving? No. So, are we going to really work out how we are going to establish this? So we do have emotions, negative and positive. We do have insignificance until somebody comes along and brings meaning to us. Yes, people bring meaning to you, you know. Did I miss that 2 weeks ago? Or did you get that? When we talk about language. What was that last week? People do make... So having a friend around, having people around you are important to help bring meaning to loss. We do get our emotions and our thoughts a little confused sometimes, but that's fine. That's fine. We are learning to be distinctive between what's emotion and what's thought, and how we need to express ourselves and then control those expressions to bring us more clarity as we go along. We have to realize how to to manage those intense reactions that we call catharsis. And so therefore, we need to learn how to listen both to somebody and myself. When the person talks, I listen. When I talk to myself. I can say, hey, this is what's happened to me. This is what has happened to me. How do you want to live? What do you want to do next? Why do you want to remember it? Is it going to help you? So that we can begin to really appreciate your loss by accepting and acknowledging it and re-enhancing emotions of resolve. I want to find emotions that will help me laugh. And if I have to laugh, it is not that you can't laugh because there's a death. You could always laugh because it's you laughing. And you make me come back to public, which wants to tell you that Mr. Public says it's no laughing matter. Or you're laughing out of some control. No, I'm laughing genuinely because it's laughing. It's laughing. It's laughing. It's laughing. It's joyfulness. I can go out again. I can go to the market, the grocery. I can go and lie with my friends to a restaurant. Yes? Are you hearing me? So even though I am excited, or I get a little peeved, or I can still understand that though I am going through this transition of change, from having to not having, and this is around, I am still really importantly looking at where I am going and how I am moving forward to establish the equilibrium. We go back to that word. So it's important for me to continue finding ways to move from negative to positive, to find meaning, and to try to establish how I am really overcoming the anger and the hostility and the resentment, etc. One of the things that I am careful of is how I am pushed into shame, or I am pushed into hopelessness. Dr. Naz, are you using the right verb there? I would say yes. I don't really want to stay here, but Mr. Public, family members might tend to want me to stay there. She did so much for you, especially if it's a friend or a loved one died. You have to pay these respects for X amount of time. You have to look sad. And I remember when I was a child, we used to wear black clothes for X amount of a year before you could wear colors. I know you were in that. I hope you were not in that era. And some people must wear black or white. And some people say, okay, 3 months. You don't have a month. You don't even have a day. You can wear any color. But can you come out into that frame when you can release yourself from the expectations of finding certain paradigms that will tell people that you are mourning? No, you do not need to establish that you are mourning. You need to be establishing that you are looking for resolve and looking for some way to go forward, that you can find change and come into that place of resilience and equilibrium and come back to that place where you are again saying, yes, I can live. Yes, I'm alive. Yes, I'm doing greatly. So, but we have to see that there is no hopelessness. We have to move up and say, yes, I can regain, I can reestablish, I can reevaluate. Not just me, but reevaluate all around. And encourage people to work that with you, rather than to have people help you to be much more negative than positive. We want to define that, and we want you to help your friends even. To help you, say, hey. I know you're coming with all this talk all the time, but what about if you have a problem with the debt or the loss? In any case, can I help you with it? Rather than you try to make me as lost as I think you think I should be when I'm ready to go on. Now, guys out there, this is real stuff. And this is not stuff just for a day or a week after the funeral or after the house burned down. This is stuff that, and I use the word stuff, this is information that you need to continue working through for years. Because, and to be honest, you need to start, like, let's say 2 months after the loss. Before that, you'll still maybe woozy. But we need to find a space after that to get you to a spot where you begin to rehabilitate. I have in my counsel people whose life is still shaky and in shambles because of a loss 20 years ago. I lost 30 years ago. Some people have lost family members, especially if it was tragic by accident. People have not reconciled the loss of a son or daughter or family member by fire or by car accident. And we don't realize that our life is not going forward as ought to be. We end up making decisions that we regret, and eventually you may have a divorce down the line, or you may just get one more and decide to do nothing with your life, and you don't want to go to school again. It's not because of what happened yesterday, but we could trace that back all the way 30, 40 years and say, hey, you have not reconciled that debt and that loss. And so in our next broadcast, I want to look a little bit about how to reclaim those joys and reclaim your purpose in terms of going forward and coming out of that reflection of negativity and coming into a more positive context to go on and to recognize that I am going from victim to survivor to thriver. I want us to be real in terms of understanding that you are not to be a victim or just surviving. You're not just to say, oh gosh, poke, day by day. You know how it is. One of these days, no. Let's see if we can really harness, come into that place where we transition out of that weakness, out of that intense behavior, that erratic emotion, that catharsis, and come into a place where we can find peace, and we can have peace with ourselves, and more so, peace with people around us. Dr. Niles signing off today. Dr. Niles saying to goodbye. I'm glad to have you in this space. And I hope for those of you who have just had a loss, or you have family members who are grieving, really, Nation Mind 2021, you can write me at gmail.com. Write me. We could get in touch. We could get in touch and we could do something together for your family, for for your communities. Because sometimes when something affects you in your space, the neighbor next door is affected. The neighbor down the road is affected. And so we want to make sure that the whole community is able to strive together, one with the other, and to support you joyfully. So, have a good week and be blessed. Good evening. Good morning. Bye.